Ahoy, Homesteader family. Welcome back to the journey. Welcome to this edition of the Sunday Monday vlog. I was just about ready to reschedule the video for tomorrow because I've got a super big migraine. However, then I realized that tomorrow, hold on one second. Let's see if I just mess that up. Nope. I hit the power button. My phone wants to shut off. But I got a super bad migraine. So I was getting ready to reschedule for tomorrow and then looked at my calendar, and tomorrow I've got the quorum court out in Marshall, Arkansas. So I couldn't reschedule. So I figured I'd go ahead, just do the Sunday Monday vlog, get it over with, because I don't want to skip a Sunday Monday vlog this year. But at the same time, I've got the migraine. So this past week, what has happened? Well, we got the first little bit of white stuff called snow. Hey DT, how you doing tonight? We got a little dust in the snow. Steve said there was a lot more snow over at his place than there was here. It only lasted here for maybe like 30 minutes, and the sun popped out and it disappeared, and then it rained all day. And when I say rain, not rain. So we didn't get a lot of moisture, but we got some. The pool in the back of the homestead where I put the liner at has about 3.5 feet of water. So slowly but surely it's filling up. Hopefully when we get the spring rains in April, May, March, somewhere, who knows, the years are changing, the weathers are changing. Then hopefully the pool will be fully filled up by summer, and hopefully will still be semi-cool compared to like the Buffalo River. Because during the summer, the Buffalo River is warm, like bath water, because it's shallow, and there's only some spots that you can go that's deeper, but then you got to walk and hike and do all that fun stuff. But this week, I have not done much. We had some rain, we had some snow. The couple really good days, like today was 54, 55 degrees. Beautiful day today. I didn't get out the house until 2 o'clock this afternoon. The other day was nice. I didn't work at all because I wasn't feeling good. And so the only thing I really got done this week was feed and water animals. I hauled water again this evening. Cut a load of firewood. Got all that insulation you saw on the post that I put up. Got another Apex insulation to insulate the ceiling of the tiny home. I worked a little bit on the dog kennel area stuff. Didn't get too much accomplished. I did get a rectangle box put together, which now I kind of messed that up. I'll show you that eventually. The dogs won't have much area to go into this little box, let alone turn around. But they can't go outside the restaurant here when I'm gone. So at least in the shed, they can at least step out to go to the bathroom outside, and I have to go to the bathroom inside or hold it until I get back. And then yesterday was the only day this week that I really worked, and I only worked a few hours in the evening because me and Steve went and shot pool. He called me up and wanted to shoot pool, so we went and shot pool. But I did start cutting the trees down for the solar array. So I know I said that was part of January to start that, but I didn't think I was going to actually start it. And I worked. I cut down probably, I don't know, somewhere between 50 to 100 trees. It was a lot of trees to cut down, let alone it's going to be a lot of trees, branches, trunks, and wood to move out of the way. So I still have a whole bunch of work ahead, but I did open up, and I still got to clear other trees. I got to be up there early in the morning one day so I can see exactly where the sun comes over to see what trees I need to take out, because I don't want to take out any more trees than I need to. And I took out what I thought so far, but I might have to extend it more. I know I have to extend going west down the mountain. I plan to do that anyhow, and then take out some of the small trees and try to thin the woods. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do, but I started working on that. So today, like I said, I hauled water and got a pickup truck load of firewood because I was almost out of firewood again. You can see over there, let's see the wheelbarrow behind the post, it's filled with wood. So I'm set with wood for a couple days with the wheelbarrow. And then, like I said, I just unloaded pickup truck load of firewood. So that will get me going. That's another reason why I got the migraine and don't feel well right now. My back's all tense because I haven't soaked. I was a couple minutes late to video because I was making this coffee, which I should probably drink. That might help with the migraine. But because I moved all that weight and haven't soaked in the tub yet, my muscles are contracted and not releasing. And due to that, my head throbs. But this upcoming week, I'm not sure. Well, let's go back to this previous week. So I had some bad news. Got a flat tire, so that killed one of the days that I wanted to get work done. Had to go to Harrison, get flat tire repaired. My alignment's off again, so my two front tires are eating the rubber on the outside. You can actually see the wire banding now. Good evening, Michael. How you doing? So I've got to go back to Harrison again tomorrow. Hopefully they have tires in. So that's going to be an expense I wasn't expecting to have right now. So I got to get tires this upcoming week. And then this past week, I also found out that the company, I haven't talked about it on the YouTube channel or social media. I have talked to some of you out there that keep in constant contact. And the company I ordered the inverter from in Colorado, like I said, I don't have nothing against Colorado. Well, it's a fraud case. So they took my $1,600 and didn't give me my inverter. My inverter was supposed to be here last year. And I know a couple people have been asking if I've got the inverter. No, I haven't because they never sent it. So I had to file a fraud case through my bank. Steve found a reputable company that is licensed to sell the certain inverter. Apparently, there's only certain companies that can even sell this inverter. Everybody else that sells it, they're not licensed through the company to be a dealer. So I ordered that. However, they are backlogged. They won't have any in until January 12th, and then it's 2 to 3 weeks for delivery. So I could pre-order. So I had to pay another $1,600 for the inverter, shipping, taxes, handling, freight, everything. And I should have that sometime in February. I did get my wire cables in. I've had a lot of, my head's fried right now. I've had a lot of people asking about solar, asking my opinion on stuff, on my help, if I'm able to help. I don't do anything with solar. Steve does everything with solar. So what I can do for some of you out there that are wondering about the solar, Steve got everything through Signature Solar. And I'll show you, like I said, I was going to hire somebody, hire a business because I wasn't expecting Steve to move out here. I got to move this light around since I got all this bad wiring and stuff in the restaurant I've never done yet. This way I got some light. Okay, so what I got is the EG4. This is the battery cabinet thing that holds the batteries. And these are the LIFEP or Power 4 batteries. Let me see. This unit's not that heavy. It's heavy, but it spins pretty good. Let me flip the camera around. Do it this way. Okay, so these are the batteries I got. They're the 100 amp hour, 51.2 volts, 5120 watt hours. The Life Power 4 batteries, they have all the computer systems in it. It has whatever that is. I would assume it's probably a breaker. And this will hold 6 batteries. So this is what I got, or this is what Steve ordered for me. This is what he's using. He only had one of these batteries. I had three. I let him use one. He's had the two batteries. He's got no issues. He's running coffee maker, microwave, fridge, freezer, um, the Starlink internet, which is 1,000 watts an hour, his laptops, phones, everything else. So he knows what he's doing because he's running everything. Also, all the cabling, and then he got this combiner box. So it's going to be 4 rays of 4 solar panels that go into the combiner box, and then combiner box comes into house to the batteries. And then I have a breaker box that then will go to a breaker box, just like I have right there on the wall. So I'll have one of those in the shed, then the wires go out throughout the house. So what I can tell you is go to Signature Solar. They also will talk to you at Signature Solar. They can help design stuff on Signature Solar. I don't know the other companies. The solar panels that he bought was through somewhere else because he bought a crate of them. Signature Solar is way more expensive solar panel wise than what he was able to get them for. I'm trying to fix this real quick. But if you're wanting solar and you don't know what you're doing and you don't want to hire a big company, then that's what I recommend doing. And apparently all the EG4 stuff is like top of the line, or not top of the line, but very good equipment. It's not cheap Chinese knockoff stuff, although who knows, it could be made in China. I have no idea. But I mean, it's working for him. I'm going to have the power for me. Of course, once I get everything set up, then I'll do some videos on that and show you that I'm actually running everything and getting things done. This upcoming week, I'm going to, depending on the weather, it looks like we got some storm days coming in. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be working on the tiny home due to the fact that I've got to have the wood and the tin outside to cut it. So if it's wet outside, I don't want to bring that moisture in and regrow mold and mildew since I'm not living in the shed, because I just got rid of all that. I have to go tomorrow, hopefully get 2 new tires, get new alignment done. Then Monday evening, tomorrow night, I have to go to Marshall for the quorum court meeting. And then next weekend, we're supposed to be single digits. So it's going to be cold for about a week, which we all know it's January. January is always this cold. I've been telling Steve that not till the end of December do we start getting into winter. And sure enough, winter is coming quickly. That's why I got the fire going. I also made a bad decision last week. I bought a heating blanket. For those of you that don't have a heating blanket, I would say don't buy one, but I recommend buying one because they are so nice. I have it at the bottom of my bed. I put it underneath the fitted sheet, so I lay on top of it so I don't have to worry about the wires. I like to put my leg out of the blanket now and then to cool off, so that wire was catching my leg. So I put it underneath the fitted sheet, and I put it from like my knees down. So I like the top of my body being cooler, but having the toasty feet and toasty legs, I tell you, worst decision. I don't want to get out of bed now. Like today, my alarms went off at 8 o'clock. I turned the alarms off and I slept till 2 o'clock. Just toasty, curled up in bed. Nothing feels better, just like a wood stove. There's no better heat than wood stove. Same thing with electric blanket. With that electric blanket, I turn it on about an hour before I hop in bed. My feet hit that heat and it's just, it feels so good. Especially wintertime. I wouldn't recommend it summertime. Then it'd be way too hot. But yeah, so to the topic, weighing freedom and weighing luxury. I've had a lot of phone time this week. I've had a lot of Facebook time and messaging time with people. Some of you that might be watching now, some of you that might be watching later, and some people that might not even see this video. Like I said, I just had with the solar stuff. I've had a lot of people reaching out this week over the solar. People local here that want me to come out and look at their stuff. I just don't do it. And I don't think Steve's doing it. He's working on his stuff. He doesn't even want to work on my stuff, which I don't blame him, because I don't go and do jobs for anybody else because I want to do my stuff. Then I'm wasting my life, my time, my freedom, hence the topic. Along with, I've had a lot of things on how I talk a lot about belittling the 9 to 5, or, looking down on the 9 to 5, saying the 9 to 5 is bad, so on and so forth. So when I do that, it's not that I'm belittling it or looking down on it, but I won't say through my whole life, because I'm only 36, so a lot of you are twice, triple, 4 times my age, boomers out there. They're old. Anyhow, a lot of my life, though, the little bit of life that I lived, I worked a lot of hours. When I was in the military, I was security forces, worked 14 to 16-hour shifts, 4 days a week. Then if there was somebody out, you had to fill that position. So then you might do that 5 times a week, 6 times a week. Military, they don't care. Once you're signing that contract, you're into it. When I ran my different businesses, same thing, hours on end, 2.5 to 4 hours of sleep a day, trying to make a living, make things happen, so on and so forth. And then when I was younger, doing landscaping and mowing yards and things like that. So I've always done that. And then even, like high school and stuff, I worked for a security company. So I went to school, got out of high school for the day, and went and worked for a security systems company, installing security systems in restaurants and businesses and so on and so forth. So I learned all that type of stuff as well. I don't really use that technology or stuff anymore. And of course, it's way different than what I installed back then. However, when I talk about that, I know the life I live now and the life of, say, yesteryear. We use the boomers terminology. And the years of yesteryear were that 9 to 5, or the 12 hours, the 14 hours, the 16-hour shifts. And I know you get a lot of money for that time. You do. And there's nothing wrong with getting that money. What I'm talking about is people look at, they have to do that for their entire life, or they have to do that for the next 40 years. It's not true. If you hustle and grind, then you only have to do it for a little bit of time. In the freedom against luxuries is freedom of time, or flicking on a light switch to have electricity super easy in the city. Now, if you work hard, if you grind out, say 5 to 10 years, and you stock money away and you're not wasting the money, then you can hit freedom a lot quicker and still have the luxuries. Everybody thinks that when people say off grid, it's just scraping by, or living in a shed, or living without power, or not having television or a refrigerator or a big screen TV. Off grid can be as luxurious as you want. The only caveat to that is you've got to have the money. Where do you get the money? Well, if you do that 9 to 5, or the 12, 14, 16-hour shifts for 5 or 10 years, and you make that overtime, and you sock that money away, instead of going on cruises, going on fancy vacations, going to the movie theater and paying $10 for a bucket of popcorn and things like that. If you aren't going to the newest fancy restaurants, buying the newest iPhone, spending money on Hulu, Disney Plus, Redbox, and all the other video and entertainment things where you have 5, 10, 15 subscriptions that money's just running right through your fingers, then you'll be able to do what I'm doing. I've had a lot of people say over the years, and more a lot recently, on, well, you can talk down to the 9-to-5 people because you get the VA, so you get a paycheck and you don't have to do anything. Now that's true. I get my VA, I'm able to do what I want. I don't have to worry about coming up with a source of money. Now, what I want to say is I want to give you an idea of how you can reach that by not having VA like me. Because I know a lot of people are saying I'm doing a lot of stuff that nobody else can do due to my circumstances and, what happened to me in the military to be able to fund what I'm doing. However, like I said, my feed bill is $2,500 a month. So VA doesn't fund all of that. If I didn't buy different properties, if I didn't do the crypto back years ago, I still got a little bit of crypto. If I didn't have my gold and silver and things like that, I would never be able to do what I'm doing because I waste a lot of money. Not like all the apps to watch all the videos and stuff like that, because I watch everything through the internet, so I don't pay anything but for the internet. But if you work 5 to 10 years and you grind it out, you stack all your money, you're not wasting money. You're not doing what I'm doing. You don't need 100 acres. Now, 100 acres is nice. I have 120, but I'm selling 20. Steve's got 5, a little over 5. So I basically got like 95 acres. Do you need 95 acres? Probably not. But if you want to live free and have freedom and be able to have luxury and not weigh the cost back and forth, then this is what you do. Stack the money for 5 to 10 years. Whatever house you're in now, you probably have some equity to it. So when you sell it, you're going to have some money. Most likely, unless you live in debt like me, then you won't have nothing. But if your house is paid for, or you have money invested into the house where you're going to make money off the house, and whatever money you stack away for 5 to 10 years, you go and buy a 1 acre piece of land or buy a half-acre piece of land. You can look at YouTube and look at millions and millions of videos on micro homesteading and tiny homesteading, and how they produce so much food off of 1 acre of land by using permaculture and hugelkultur and all the different things out there to be able to produce the maximum amount of food on the smallest plot of land. So just say you get 1 acre land, $20,000, which a lot of people pay less than $3,000 an acre. But just say you pay $20,000 for 1 acre of land. Okay, so you got your land. You saved up money for 5 to 10 years. You're not working till you're 80 or 90 and then you can't do nothing. This is where I'm trying to get people to get off the 9-to-5. I don't want you to work your entire life and not be able to enjoy it. I worked up until, 2014 or so. So that made me 20-some years old. So you still got to put some time in unless somebody just gives you $1 billion. So $20,000, you got your land. My solar system, to be able to use 10 to 12 kilowatts a day, which is probably average for most people. I have no idea. I use a lot of power. Everybody calls me an energy whore. Anybody that lives off grid. Roger and stuff from back at my house in Cotopaxi that did my solar system said that's why I was energy whore. So 20 grand is basically what my system's going to cost eventually. I still got to buy the battery, still got to buy cable, still got to buy the solar rack, the nuts, the bolts, build everything, so on and so forth. So I'll have 20 grand invested. Okay, so there's $40,000. You got 1 acre land. You got a solar system that's good for like 15, 20 years. You have to come up with money again in the future. Say another $20,000. Say $10,000 for 10,000 gallons worth of water storage, water cisterns, gutters, roof, yada, yada, yada. You got your water set up, and then say $10,000 to make a septic, digging, equipment rental, so on and so forth. So right there, you're $60,000 down, and you have your land, you got your power, you've got your water, you got your sewer, and on that land, you can start producing food. You don't have to go get animals that cost you money. You start producing vegetables. Once you get the garden going, then you can get some chickens. They will help fertilize. They will eat the scraps. Then you got eggs, which is protein and fats and everything else. And then you got chicken meat, and then you can grow bigger from there. But what I'm saying is, if you stop doing all the luxuries, and that's where the freedom versus luxuries, because if you continue doing cruises, big vacations, all the subscriptions, all the fine dining, all the movies, the clubs, the bars, everything else everybody does, you're going luxury, luxury, luxury. And this freedom is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Because every time you do this, you lose this, because 1 hour here costs you 3 hours of freedom to make that money at a job and pay your taxes on it, and your travel, which costs money. You don't get paid for tires, wear and tear on vehicle, your time. So were the luxuries in the long run worth it? And that's where I've been having discussions with several people this past week, 4 to be exact. Because some of them want to do what I'm doing, but they got to have the luxuries. And then some of them don't want to do what I'm doing at all. They want all nothing but luxuries. And what I'm saying is, yes, I talk about not doing the 9 to 5. Yes, I talk about homesteading. Yes, I talk about I'm moving into a shed. Yes, I've said I'm never moving into a shed again. But you have to make the decision. You have to weigh. Do you want more freedom, or do you want more luxury? Or do you want both? And how do you get to both? Or how do you get to more freedom? Or how do you get to more luxury? What are you willing to sacrifice? And that's where everybody has to make their own decision, because yes, you're watching me and you're part of my journey, but you're also living your own journey that I don't get to see. And you have to decide in your journey which way you're willing to go. By working that 9 to 5 until you're 80, 60, 70, 80, 90, whatever you have, this freedom just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Because if you work for 50 years to get all these luxuries and you retire at 60, you're not going to live 60 years to enjoy 60 years of freedom. That's where the scale is. You have to decide, is it worth having all these luxuries to have a small bit of freedom in life left? Or do you cut back on the luxuries to have more life? Do you work for 50 years to hope to get 50 years? Do you work for 40 years to hope to enjoy 60 years? That's what you have to decide. For me, freedom has been my number one thing. We've seen, since I've started this channel in 2016, I don't know exactly in the beginning if I had running water yet or my solar system or things like that when I started my channel. But when I put the toilet in upstairs in my house and was able to flush the toilet, that was amazing because I finally got a little bit more luxury. But what did that luxury cost? It cost some freedom because my money went down. I had to buy a toilet. I had to buy fittings. I had to buy piping. I had to hook it to the septic system. It took hours of my time, so on and so forth. So to have that little bit of luxury of a flushable toilet cost me so much time and money that I couldn't use that for anything else. And that's where we're weighing everything out. And that's where I've come to the decision after all these years of saying, I'm not going back to a shed without power and running water, that I'm moving back into a shed with no running water. I am going to have power. So I had to weigh my freedom and my luxury. Power gives me a lot. I can still drive over here to take a shower unless the restaurant sells. I can still drive over here to do my laundry. I can still drive over here. Well, no, I probably won't do dishes because I'm not even going to have that headache. But I weighed it out. And being here in the restaurant on the highway, listening to the trucks drive by in middle of the night, hitting the J brakes, how people get used to, I don't know. Steve said traffic's different than trains or things like that. But even a train, I wouldn't be able to get used to that. I like my nature. Just like that video one of my subscribers wanted me to make with the animals at feed time. I did that, and I had people talk about how peaceful that video was with the animals. And that's what I want to do. I want to be out in the homestead and getting back to taking the goats for a walk. Because when I'm walking with the animals, I'm taking in the homestead. When I'm working on the homestead, all I'm doing is work on whatever project, and you don't see the big picture. But when you have animals on your homestead and you walk through it, whether it's 2.5 acres, like back in Southside Cotopaxi, and I used to hike up the mountain, or 50 acres at the ranch when I built the road across and we were able to walk across every few days, or now the 120 acres that I used to walk down Purdom Lane with them. When you do that, you smell nature, you see nature, and you're immersed in it. And it's something about that freedom is worth sacrificing the luxuries. So that's the reason why I've decided to move back to the homestead, even though I'm not prepared. Eventually, hopefully this summer, going into fall, I'm going to try to save up enough to buy a water cistern. I'm going to try to save up for gutters. I want to do rain catchment so I can have supplemental water over there. It's not going to be full water because I'm not going to have big enough roof. But I'm going to slowly work towards it. That's what I recommend for everybody out there. I recommend you work towards your goals. I recommend you weigh what life you have left, whether you're 15 years old, whether you're 40 years old, whether you're 80 years old, or 100 years old. How many years do you truly think you have left? How many years do you think you're going to be in good enough health to do what you want to do? How many years ago could you have done this that you could have enjoyed all these years since? Let alone, like I've said to several different boomers I've talked to this past week as well, I could get hit by a car tomorrow. You may not have no extra life. You may get hit by a car tomorrow. So do you want to waste your life doing that 9 to 5? It's on you. It's something you've got to weigh. The freedoms, the luxuries. What balances you? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What are your goals? How far apart are they? If you want a $1 million ranch, then yes, you're going to have to work a lot of 9 to 5s to get that $1 million ranch, because that's a luxury. Same thing with me. I got 120 acres. To fence it all, $500,000. I don't have $500,000. It would take a lifetime for me to get $500,000 to fence the whole property in sections and everything I want. Do I want a fence company come in and do everything so I don't have to? Oh, that'd be wonderful. But that's a luxury. I don't have that luxury. I'd rather have the freedom to do things myself as much as I can, so I can have that added money going into something else. Same thing with the solar system. The solar companies wanted 58 to 70,000, somewhere in there, to do the solar system. The electric company wanted 68 grand to bring power out to me. Steve's doing it for $20,000. He's saving me a whole lot of money. What's that money going to go to? More stuff on the homestead, which benefits him, benefits me, and makes things happen. That's what you got to look at. If you have all these different Hulus and Netflix and all the different apps that you're paying, how many of those luxuries do you really need? We're taught, we're raised, we're trained to have luxuries. I talked to somebody this week about a rough idea. They're trying to figure out how to build a house. And I said, why don't you dig a hole in the dirt and make a dirt house? Just being sarcastic, of course. But if you think about it, look at Iraq, look at Afghanistan, look at Somalia, Egypt, all the different places around the world. How many different people do live in dirt houses? How many farmers and homesteaders lived in sod houses across the plains of this great country? Why did they do that? They wanted that freedom. It wasn't about the luxury. How many people were living in sod houses for freedom, and how many people were building expensive cabins? That was luxury. That's another way to think about it too. If you worked for 5 to 10 years, put all that money away, stacked it, bought a piece of land in a good county, in a good state like Searcy County, Arkansas, where you don't have building permits and you're able to do what you want to do when you're on land. You could build a rock house. You could build a dirt house, a sod house. It's not the most luxurious thing in the world, but guess what? It doesn't cost much money. So if it doesn't cost much money, that money you saved for 5 to 10 years is still up here. You haven't lost $100,000 building an expensive house. Same thing with me. I want to put my house off for a while because I want to get a barn built and things like that. Could I live in the shed permanently and add on a tiny little room? Yes, I could. Would that give me more freedom? Yes, it would. But I'm stuck on that luxury. I want to build a house, which is going to cost me a lot of money for that luxury. That gives me a whole lot less freedom. All that money is gone. I can't put that money into another project. So that's those things you got to realize. Do you really need a cell phone? You think you do. We're taught we need cell phones. Society is now kind of making us need cell phones. But look at how many generations never had a cell phone. Look at how many generations never had TVs. Look at how many generations never had computers. We're stuck being sold the idea of needing all the luxuries in the world to give up as much freedom as we can. That's why we all work, not me, but most of you out there, most of the people in this world work their entire life. And they're very lucky if they get a good 5, 10, maybe 15 years to be able to enjoy life. The problem is by then, their health has plummeted. They're in no shape. They can't travel. They can't do what they want. If you worked until you're 70, can you go out there and put in fence and garden, build rock walls and things like that for how you want your homestead to be set up like this back in the day? Can you build your house at 70, 80, 90 years old? Maybe. You may be one of the lucky ones that stay fit enough. But if you're one of those people that sit in an office job 9 to 5, you probably aren't going to have any muscle or any strength by then. You're not going to be able to do what you want, which means you're going to have more money to pay for somebody to come do what you want for the last few years of your life. It's another reason why you might want to bank, cut back on your luxuries, have a little bit more freedom, and enjoy the little bit of life we do have. 100 years doesn't seem, or seems like a lot to a lot of people, but 100 years is nothing if you look at the history of the world. And who knows exactly how old civilization goes back. So something to consider. You might yourself want to weigh out your freedoms versus luxuries. Figure out what scale balances the best for you. You may be willing to go live in a dirt house, and your scale may be like that. Get out there and do it. You may be living in New York City, and you're living like this because you have all the luxuries in the world. But you got to find out what makes you happy. If living in the city makes you happy, by all means, live in the city. If living at the beach makes you happy, by all means, live at the beach. If living on a farm makes you happy, by all means, live on a farm. 9 to 5, by all means, do it. Retire, do it. Painting, concerts, cruises, vacations, do whatever makes you happy. But when you're doing those things, you got to realize the cost and the scale of every decision you make. Because every single decision you make, whether like me going Dunkin' Donuts, boop, luxuries, freedom, boop, went down. Going to Colton's, luxury, freedom. Moving into my shed with no utility bills, freedom, no money going out. Yes, solar costs $20,000 for my system, but I won't have a monthly bill. Yes, in 15 years, I'll have to buy more components, batteries, whatever, because that's cost of life. However, I'm living on my schedule, my way. If I want to sleep in till 2 o'clock this afternoon with a heated blanket on, that luxury feels really good. But guess what? My electric bill just brought my freedom down. Me not getting nothing accomplished on the homestead just took my freedom down. Every decision we make, every second counts, every minute counts, every hour counts. It's up to you to do what you want to do. It's up to you on how you want to live. It's up to you on whether you have freedom or luxury. With that, I hope everybody has a great upcoming week. Stay warm for those of you that are getting ready to get hit with cold like me. Stay cool for those of you in warm climates. Take care, and remember, like always, live happy, live free. That's the only way to be. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care. Have a good night, DT. Cheers.